Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first Lunch and Learn. We're so excited to be here, not only because I have coffee, which you can't see, here you go, for the Lunch and Learn, um, but we have a lot to share uh, with and the new portion of our digital learning plan, which is the Digital Navigator. My name is Jose Adorno. I'm the Digital ATDN coordinator. We have Amy Ferrari here joining us as well, and we have Mary Kay Haverty, which is our Digital ATDN tech specialist as well. So we have both Digital ATDN and ATDN in the house. Welcome everyone, and before we get started into the Navigator, I do want to talk a little bit about the digital learning plan. The digital learning plan was a structure, or on the website, it serves as a structure to organize all our resources, the tools that we've created, and the resources that we've created, and or that resource that we've curated. And we have them organized here. And there's four buckets, if you will see. If we go into the about, so we have our digital learning plan, we have an about section. And in our about, we're going to have four main areas. We're going to have our digital equity and accessibility. Here you're going to see the different equity services that are available and how to look for that in your community. We also have digital accessibility guidelines. So let's say if you have a student that's doing a text to speech, how do you set up your documents in order to make that program be able to read that out efficiently so the student can follow. We have our digital literacy, which is our second portion. Here is where we have the digital literacy frameworks, which we use North Star. We have the Bridges framework and the international standards in technology. That's the ISTE. Then we have also go over digital skills for the different learner types that we have, as well as digital literacy oriented resources. Our third section, and this is the mostly known section, is the tech implementation. Here you see how the technology and how the digital skills show in the classroom. How do you bring that into the classroom? How do you develop these skills? We go over curricula here. So we have North Star, Dart, and Google Applied Digital Skills. We also go over some routines and open educational resources as well. And then last but not least, we have our tech support. Here, in addition to the services that we provide at Digital ATDN, focusing for staff and programs, we also touch upon the learner hubs and support. And for each section, and we're going to go to digital equity and accessibility. Well, we're going to do digital literacy. Digital literacy is the only one up to the of these four that is slightly different. And the reason behind that is that digital literacy has an additional frameworks section. The framework section talks a little bit of what of the three frameworks that we're focusing on, plus links to those frameworks. So we wanted to separate those because those are bigger picture items. These are like where the digital literacy skills standards that you can find in the approach of how each framework approaches digital literacy. But this one and the rest of them all have professional development and resources. When we talk about professional development, of course, any of the webinars that we've created, one of the presentations that we record and we share out to the field, as well as the on-demand courses that we're putting together. So you'll have all access of all of that that's tied to that specific area for each part of the digital learning plan. And the great thing about it is that when you work with the digital learning plan, you don't need to go through them in order. It's helpful to go through in order, of course, because that provides an overview of what everything that's available. But if you have a strong foundation, let's say with your digital equity, you really want to work on implementation, or you really want to work on the frameworks, you can work on those areas, focus on those resources, and have access to what you're looking for when you need it. And then last but not least, if I didn't mention the resources here, it's just some of the resources that are aligned to this section to help develop these sections. And again, you just click on it. It will be mostly websites. If we have a different tool or we have an app that we've put together or an app that we recommend from a different organization, you could also access those here. So you'll have links to everything. Before we go into the digital navigator piece, that's what we want to focus and be respectful with your time. I do want to quickly show you how does this look like in another area that we work on, which is our latest news, or what you might know as our blog posts. In our blog posts, we release about monthly, might be a little more sooner, just roughly. We release a post that we cover different topics or different resource. We spotlight resources and we share why is this resource worth your time? How can it support and how your learners, how can you bring that into the classroom? And these, in addition to the content areas, if you're looking at English as second language specific resource, you could click on these. But you can also see these by the digital learning plan category. So if I am looking specifically for digital equity and accessibility, I could click here, and instead of seeing the 20 plus posts that are there, you could take a look and see what are those that are targeting specifically digital equity and accessibility. So again, this is another example of how we've taken, sorry about that. This is an example. Let me just mute this before I go. This is an example of how you can curate based on the digital learning plan to focus on the areas that you want to develop at your agency. These are ways that we use, that we've curated, that we've researched and implement and prepared strategies to target the digital divide that's available here in Connecticut. With that, we want to go into the digital navigator section of the digital learning plan. And when we go here, I do want to talk about, I want to start with the definition, and this is from the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. Digital navigators are trusted guides who assist community members with ongoing individualized support or with ongoing individualized support for accessing affordable and appropriate connectivity, devices, and digital skills. There's a piece that I want to focus here. Connectivity, devices, and digital skills. We are talking about digital navigators. But prior of talking about digital navigators, there's agencies that are targeting the digital divide and are touching upon these three different areas. Connectivity and devices, as an example, might be something that will come up with a program facilitator during registration. It could be something that comes up with a career navigator when they come in, when they're having conversation of like what their education goals are, and other related staff that would work with learners. And they would connect to either programs that are within the agency or partnerships where they could target some of these areas. When we're looking at digital skills, it could be in a classroom. You have a computer lab, let's say, and you have a tech person that would provide that digital support that they need in order to meet a specific goal. It could be in a classroom where the teacher is preparing students for, let's say, a career opportunity, and they're trying to build some of the digital skills that are required for a specific type of employment or going into college. And these different areas, right? It's covered across more than one person or one specific role. So when we talk about a digital navigator that is encompassing all three, the question here is, you have a person that could reach out to all of these areas, but is there that academic, is there that background that would enrich across those different roles, because there are different perspectives on how to approach these areas. With the digital navigator page, we target these areas and provide some context, which we'll see soon, as to what it means when we're trying to connect with not just with connect with devices, but when we're trying to select different tools, or we're trying to create learning plans for our learners so they can reach their goals, and provide that context in order to enrich the digital navigator, which does have academic background or experience with the learners, but might be slightly different than, or if you have a digital navigation team, which you have these different people that together make that the digital navigator, how you could straighten that background and straighten the skills when you're bringing the digital learning plan into your agency. So here we have three sections. Our first one being the defining the role of digital navigator. And this is the release of our first part of the digital learning plan, which is the digital navigator. And because today, or this week, is Dr. Seuss week, the only reason I know the reason I know that's because of my kids' library and all of that. I decided to do a little spin-off off of this. Instead of reading all of these, which are available for you on the website, I used a buddy called ChatGPT and took all these objectives and created a Dr. Seuss-like reading of which is called "Oh, the Tech You'll Know," a digital navigator tale. A digital navigator, oh, what a delight. They help folks with tech from morning to night. They teach and they guide, they click and they scroll, supporting each learner to reach their own goal. They help adult learners, oh, yes, that is true, with tablets and laptops and Wi-Fi times two. They show them the ropes, they help them connect with digital skills that they won't soon forget. They work with the town. Oh, what a great feat! Bringing tech training to folks down the street. With workshops and meetings, the folks get wise, so no one is lost in the vast online skies. So hats off, hooray for the work that they do. Digital navigators, we sure do need you. So I just noticed we skipped one. I scrolled too fast. But again, this is the using the goals that we had there, just to kind of like do a little spin-off, show how digital navigator in the eyes of Dr. Sue, how that would be. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little poetry slam there. Thank you. So again, we have here, they're broken down in supporting adult learners. We have by supporting teachers and staff, by supporting agencies and community partnerships. And before I click into the plan, I do want to mention that this year we have the opportunity to work with digital navigators through the Technology Integration and Expansion of Services, which is a PEP grant. Those agencies that were awarded have digital navigators, and we have been working with digital navigators this year, and we did a training back in October of digital navigator training. You have access here to the presentations and the videos. There's a digital literacy plan template also available. as well as some resources here that you can use, and then a reference again to the digital learning plan. What we do in for the Digital Navigator, trying to give you what you need to get started. But if you're looking for additional areas to focus on and to continue to develop, we do recommend is to go around because there's stuff on the website that might not be on the plan, but there's context in the plan that is not on the website. So again, you want to make sure that you want to take a look at both based on what you need. And if there's any questions, we have tech implementation and support at the bottom of each page where you could click schedule and schedule an appointment with either me or we have Mary Kate here also as that you could schedule support. So with that said, and before I go into the plan, are there any questions? I'll paste the page to the digital navigator. I think my battery died. There you go. Yep. Keyboard battery died. Okay, perfect. So I included the link on the chat so you'll have access to this page, but we will now dive into the digital learning plan. Are part one of the digital learning plan, the digital navigator. We have another image here that was created with ChatGPT with showing the case of someone navigating through all of this technology, which is mostly how we feel when we looking through everything that's available, right? So we have our guidance here. We have our definitions. Oh, and I need to scroll this maybe a little bit higher. Okay. We have guidance. We have your definitions. We have the digital navigator model. Under each section, we have some of the subsections of what we go over under each one. You have mapping programs and services that support digital equity. And again, you have a few options here. We have identifying the role of technology in adult education. We have digital literacy frameworks, digital literacy curriculum and repositories, and digital accessibility. And then we have our conclusion and next steps. Each section, I'll go first with the digital navigator model. Each section is going to have your purpose, what is the overall goal of this section. You're going to have access to some of the resources that is referenced in this section. We have an audience of who it will target. Of course, digital navigators will be present across everything throughout the plan, but if there is additional staff that will tie to, it can, and there might be staff that they might work on it. They might work in this area because, as we mentioned before, that might be an area that they support their learners. And you'll have your sections, of course. So for each area, we have an ask yourself. We want you to read through this or the areas that you're choosing to read because we approach the same way as the digital learning plan. You access what you need, you work through that, and if you need to supplement and get additional pieces, then you could go through there. You can start with what you need first. But we have a question here to really bring you to reflect on what's happening at your agency. So when you're reading through these, how would the information that you're going through, how does that fit at your agency? What processes do you have already at your agency? What supports do you already have built for your staff or for your learners and things like that? So again, here for our first one, which is the digital navigator model, what available supports does your agency provide to access development of skills and navigation for your learners in digital equity and literacy? And again, once you go through you have each of the different sections, what we cover. This is some of that insight that uh, it's not detailed on the website. The website, you're going to have a lot of access to the resources and the different posts and information that we cover. Again, these are these are how Digital Navigator support. This particularly is what's on the beginning of the introduction of the Digital Navigator. Again, we have a building a support network. You have recommended resources and assessments in this case as you go through some of these. Here, there's a flow chart for digital equity, because remember, we're looking at through the Digital Navigator, how the Digital Navigator would present or would build resources, excuse me, how digital navigators will build the resources and support into the agency using the digital learning plan. And then again, you'll go through that flow. When you go here, you'll have a list of the different presentations, in this case, Digital Navigator. So Digital Navigator that has been with us since October through the beginning of as we roll out all these videos you already attended and went through. So again, if there's anything that you need to go back, oh, this is, I think I need another check on this. I just need to look at the presentation. You have the links here as well. And we have here links. If you have this printed out, you could scan your QR code. You could access our on-demand app, our tech implementation support sessions, which I probably like to say that this is very tied into the Digital Navigator model that's presented. We support the teachers and the agencies in developing the skills. So a lot of the approach of how we handle the tech implementation and support is very close to what the Digital Navigator model's tech support area is provides. Just to show you something a little bit different that what you will get here that is not necessarily, let me see. We are looking at identifying the role of technology in adult education. As you see, that everything's hyperlinked, so you'll click on it, it'll take you down, it'll take you to that section as well. It's one of the benefits of having it in digital format. You have your purpose again, you have your resources. We start talking about the SAMR and Bloom's taxonomy. We have the digital literacy skills checklist, the Bridges checklist for diverse learners, which is one of our latest releases this year. Well, Bridges is not part of ours. We use Bridges to align a lot of the curriculum and that kind of thing. So they didn't want to take credit for that. We have here your sections. And again, you have your ask yourself question. Are you using technology in the classroom to provide various learning experiences for your adult learners? And again, going into that question in mind and going through the content, how can you piece some of this together that you can use in the classroom or to empower teachers through training and implementation of technology that you already have in the classroom, and how that you could bring that over. So again, you have this information here. We have the SAMR model. Your reference, we talk a little bit about that as well. The digital skills spectrum, which we go over into our digital literacy curricula, which we have a page for that too. And again, it goes over the different areas. We have curriculum and digital literacy repositories. Now that I'm thinking, I could have put everything under Dr. Seuss and read the whole thing. I'm kidding. Just kidding. I wouldn't last that long with my voice if we did it that way. But again, you have the different areas listed, and then again, you'll have aligned professional development, where you have, again, presentations that are aligned to that. You have some of the on-demand trainings that's available. You have some links. In this case, there's a TechCast linked here. And again, you'll have access to each on each section, you have access to additional resources that you could access, the tech implementation and support, and our on-demand app. For those that have lost my train of thought. For those that digital navigators that were working with us, we have been exploring the digital literacy frameworks more in depth. We have looked at digital curriculum and provided ways that how you could connect between or crossover between curricula. So the plan also goes over that. So if you have someone that's new coming in, digital navigator needs to get an idea of what they need to work on. If you already have a framework, then maybe the curriculum is where in a curriculum in place. We always recommend start from what you have available, and then from there you expand. The thing about this here is that then if they needed to expand because there's some gaps that are not met and that learners need, then you could expand looking at frameworks and looking at other curricula to bridge that gap, which again we also reference here on the plan. And then here, talking about that, right? Looking at the question, how do you ensure that all adult learners are being supported in the access to technology and the development of skills at your agency? I do want to pause at this point. I do want to open this for questions. If you have any questions, you have any comments. If you have seen this before today, have you used anything of this today already? Have you looked into it? Do you want me to read more Dr. Seuss? Kidding. Do most programs use computer labs or devices? Great question. I don't have that number on the top of my head. I know that there were some agencies that had computer labs and some moved into devices because then they were doing some push in the class, because then the device having laptops, let's say, were portable and easy to move, like using a cart. But I don't have infrastructure information like of how all agencies across the state are using one or the other. We try to accommodate based on looking at both options as a possibility. So a lot of it, when you're going through the plan, you, okay, this works well in a computer lab. If it's a pushing into a classroom where you're using devices, or there's a room where they have the device set up as well, and how those adjust. And then if there's questions, we also do the tech implementation. Christine, thank you for sharing too. Shoreline uses devices. We have laptop and Chromebook carts in near the classrooms. Yes. Great. And that's been one of the approaches where some of the agencies, they had a computer lab, but now they focus on devices. Windsor uses laptops and iPads. Yes. Thank you. However, classrooms have carts with laptops in the classroom. New Haven. Amarillo. V-Race uses Chromebooks. A lot of it, it's a good, when we talk about devices too, like when we look at Digital Navigator, we have connectivity devices and digital skills. Um, device is going to be, if the student is not familiar with the device, or you have two devices, and in a perfect scenario, you don't have the two different devices in the classroom. Sometimes that would open the, oh, well, if you have this device, this is what you do. You have this device, this is what you do. And a lot of the students, just because they open, it looks like a laptop for them, it's just a laptop. Um, so again, that digital navigator, or those people that work with providing or onboarding those learners, again, are playing that digital navigator role. If you look at it like that. Plainville uses iPads, lab, and laptops. Windsor also offer a 2-hour facilitated morning and evening computer lab. Oh, nice. That's cool. Is that before class or like during class if they had to step out and get the support?
Hi, everyone. In the morning, it's Thursdays, so we don't have morning Thursday classes, so they come just for the computer lab. And then our evening one is Thursday evenings, right before the beginning of Thursday evening classes.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
New Milford gives Chromebooks to all students, right? That's that kind of accessibility, providing the devices for learners. Some of them, I know some agencies do lend. There's others that there's like a different program that does that. I know some libraries also. You could they have computer labs available, but there's I think they some of them lend out hotspots as well. And again, talking about that, if we go into digital equity and accessibility, and we scroll down here to the digital equity resource flow chart. I don't know if it's on this one right here. Oh, there you go. Under, so if there are K-12 students in the household, you have different programs that are tied to K-12. So if they have children, you have T-Mobile Project at 10 million, Cox Communications Connect to Compete, and Digital Wish. When you go into these sites, you could go through process getting affordable internet, or it's affordable internet, and then they have like subsidized devices, so they give them at cost, or they sell them at cost. They don't give them; they sell them at cost. And then you have the digital equity partners map. This map here shows you how, like, if you look by your town, I'll click on it so you can see it. Oh, I need to re-click on it. Hold on a second. You could look by the different libraries that are across, and then you could see. So I'm from New Britain, so I just type in New Britain. And then I'll see like the different opportunities that are close around and what type of services that they offer. So Newington shows up because it's a neighboring town. There's desktop computers. You click here on New Britain. There's the website, phone number. There's devices that they could use. There's charging stations, makerspace equipment. Um, you could get hotspots and that kind of thing. So again, if this is the area that you want to focus on, the digital equity services and connecting them to connecting them to internet and devices, then this is a good starter to look into, which again is also on the plan. VRA offers in the classroom Chromebooks and uses desktop and iPads for testing. Excellent. So we have 5 minutes left. I will stay on if you have any questions, or is there anything particular that you would like to see for me to show you? If not, thank you so much for sharing your lunchtime with us here. And I will do cheers because I have my coffee here. But I really appreciate it. Reach out if you have any questions. You're more than happy to actually let me share the tech implementation and support. These resources and the digital navigator are very helpful. You're welcome.
Thank you, Jose. That was very clear, and we'll be able to, this meeting was recorded, so I'll be able to review it again,
Yes, I recorded it.
and that'll come to us.
I mean, it's gonna be with, huh?
I'll be able to record it. I'll be able to review it again.
Yes, so I'll follow up with an email, and you'll have. There's no slides in this instance, other than the Dr. Seuss Poetry Slam.
Okay,
But
yeah.
but you'll have access to the recording. Yes.
Really enjoyed the Dr. Seuss.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Nice job.